Hello, JP. How are we
Hey
doing
Josh,
today?
doing great. How about yourself?
Good, good. Yeah, so for anybody watching this, this is our first and inaugural kind of Ember Tribe update for what's happening, kind of the state of the state, what's happening in the world of paid traffic and digital marketing. And I'm here with JP, our director of operations here at Ember Tribe. We're just gonna have a little bit of a chat around kind of what's happening, what's notable kind of over the past month, and what you should be paying attention to for your own marketing. So with that, JP, I will turn over to you for kind of the first item on the agenda.
Yeah, so the first thing comes from kind of an unlikely source, and you think of like paid media, and that's Microsoft. Bing Ads has been around for a while. It was Microsoft Ad Center, and then it got rebranded to Bing Ads, and now it's getting rebranded again, pushing over towards Microsoft Ads now. The name in and of itself is kind of interesting, but doesn't really tell us a whole lot other than that they did release some information with the naming that they're going to be pushing more on going beyond just search. So if you think back to like Google AdWords rebranded to Google Ads, the subtle drop of words in there was a move on their part to more emphasize display and video. Microsoft seems to be following suit. So as a whole, we've talked in the past actually about the fact we actually really liked Bing. It's a low competition, low volume opportunity to add to your portfolio. Usually you see much lower cost per click, much lower CPMs over there. It's a great addition to round out your paid media spend. The additions that they're making here, they're putting more emphasis on their own display network, which should really help because the competition will probably still be pretty low, but that should help offset the volume question that's come to place a lot. So that's a great opportunity for us to get involved. There's also some other interesting things happening, like the introduction of sponsored products. So they're going to try to compete with Google Shopping over there. So that's a big push. The big question that remains to be seen is they hinted at more emphasis on personalization and AI, which is a big topic of conversation these days. As you guys know, Microsoft owns LinkedIn. And so it remains to be seen if they're going to introduce some of that social graph data into their personalization and use information about companies that you're following, titles that you have to impact some of the ads that they're able to serve. So lots going on there. Really, we're kind of in a wait and see mode with the rolling out, but we're really bullish on Microsoft as a whole from an advertising standpoint and like the moves that they're making here.
Yeah, it's super exciting, and I think anytime you can find little treasures under the rock, like like a Bing that works for you, it's a huge competitive advantage. Like, how do you see people maybe leveraging this in their larger marketing mix? Do they run it aside other things? Do they just double down on that one channel if if for some reason it lends well to their business? Like, what do you think? What do you foresee the use being?
Yeah, so obviously there is no one size fits all when it comes to paid media, but I would say consider heavily your niche and your audience. So if you tend to work heavily in B2B, Bing has always been a strong play because Bing is the standard search engine on Edge or Internet Explorer, which tend to get rolled out in corporate settings a lot. So it's a really popular use for B2B. It also tends to be stronger among desktop users and older demographics. So depending on who you're selling to and what you're marketing, it could be a really strong play for you. I don't usually recommend it by itself. I usually recommend it as in the mix with some of the larger players in the space. So whether that be a social channel like Facebook, Instagram, or something more like Google Ads, I think it's complementary. Bing's kind of admitted over years that it's not a standalone product with all these cool things you can do, like import all of your campaigns from Google Ads. So they basically just admitted, like, look, we know you're running over there, but run here too, which is kind of a nice way to treat that platform.
Totally. Yeah, and like you alluded to, it'd be really interesting to see if there's any overlap with the LinkedIn data that they have. Great. What else? I know there's something going on with Instagram here, so let's hear about it.
Yeah, so all of the there was a great outcry as if millions of social influencers were upset and then suddenly silenced because Instagram has teased the idea that they might be killing publicly visible likes, which has been created just widespread panic among those who use that as their digital currency. First of all, let's be really clear. Like, they're testing this. We don't know that it's actually going to roll out. They have said they don't know that it's going to roll out. It's in very small markets. They're seeing whether it works. They do stuff like this all the time. It's just not usually something so public and so such a big deal. And so this may turn out to all just be smoke with no fire. And so we'll have to see where it goes from there. However, I will say, stepping out of the advertiser seat for a second, like, this idea of fighting vanity metrics could prove really interesting, not just for advertisers who are always struggling about, like, should I optimize for comments or shares or links or clicks or likes, or what am I trying to go for here? Like, this could help just from devaluing that, but also it could help with the longevity of the platform. So one of the downsides of a channel like Instagram is this kind of unhealthy obsession with generating these likes and droves, and put up a post, and if it doesn't work, take it down. Getting rid of some of that may actually cause more stickiness on the platform, and a more sticky platform for users is better for advertisers as well, because it means it's more consistent long term. So it's just, we'll have to see where that goes. The other potentially interesting factor here is, does this create more value for comments? Now, in the advertising space, we know that comments are super valuable because people who see an ad will then read through the comments to see if there's positive feedback on it. They'll tag friends. It's a very common social engagement. If comments become exponentially more valuable as a result of this move, like, that could be an interesting twist on how advertisers treat the platform. And the final interesting potential impact of this is regarding PPE, or pay per engagement campaigns. So traditionally, pay per engagement campaigns yield a ton of likes because they're very easy. They cost very little. It's a single click, or if you're on Instagram, it's a double tap on the photo to quickly heart a picture that you like as you're scrolling through. It takes almost no effort. So you get these really inflated views. You can get a whole bunch really quick. If likes are no longer publicly visible, does that devalue PPE campaigns? Because only a handful of those are going to be comments, which actually are visible. Does that mean that PPE campaigns go the way of the dinosaur? Do they get removed entirely? Do you get to start optimizing for different types of engagement, which is something that I've long hoped they would roll out for? We'll have to wait and see if this goes public, how the advertising side of things gets treated.
Yeah, a really interesting comment there about just changing the focus, maybe, and having comments be even more valuable, because I think that would absolutely have an impact on how you write your ads, how you address your audience. And we know that Facebook has already kind of penalized for engagement baiting, right? Asking people to share, to comment, or to tag. But if there is a premium on having those comments, how are you running your ads so that people can engage in a way that's not quote unquote baity? And that'll be a really interesting shift in kind of strategy to see how people navigate those waters. Awesome. What else? Do you have anything else for us? Any kind of like pro tips or things that we can do to kind of cap this one off?
Yeah, I got two quick ones for you on some of the channels that we haven't touched on yet. The first one being Google. So recently, Google has rolled out the ability that you can export your data directly out of Google into Google Sheets. Seems like kind of a no-brainer, but hasn't been there for now. You've always been able to export to Excel or a CSV, but you've never been able to drop it directly into a sheet. If you're working with a number of other folks, maybe you've got an agency running ads for you, you've got a couple of in-house folks, it's really helpful to be able to pull data out, drop it into a Google Sheet that you can all access at the same time. No more sending big files back and forth. It's a really nice feature. The data scientists and the data nerds among us are getting really excited about the ability to just like more seamlessly move between things, because it means more VLOOKUPs, more pivot tables, more glorious charts, which we can all get really excited about. And the second thing is Pinterest, which they made a change recently, which I'm really excited about. I think it speaks to the maturity of the platform, and that is that they're moving to more conversion optimization capabilities, not just link click optimization, but the ability to optimize for an end event like a lead, a download, a sale, a cart ad. To me, this signals Pinterest's interest in competing with the Facebooks, with the Twitters, with the LinkedIn of the world that have all had conversion optimization for some time. So maybe a little bit less recipe videos, a bit more e-commerce focus. This could be really interesting. They're putting more conversion optimization. It's kind of table stakes for paid social these days, but they're really stepping up. I like where this is going. I'm bullish on Pinterest as a platform. I think it's really exciting and a good place to be right now, especially if you're selling in the e-commerce space, because this is really seamlessly integrating the idea of click, open a landing page, start making a shopping experience, start taking action right away.
I love it. And I love seeing the evolution of these other platforms, mainly because as advertisers, we want to see a wider breadth of channels that we can leverage in the wake of, say, a Facebook or Google becoming exponentially more expensive every year as the competition increases. So it's great to see the other platforms coming out with better technologies, better AI, better optimization algorithms to help us reach our end goal. So That's awesome, man. Thanks for giving us the rundown. For any of you watching this, make sure that you like, subscribe, click a link wherever you're watching this. There's a way for you to get this content as it comes out. Initially, we're looking at getting these out every month, but that frequency might increase if there's stuff that's worthy to report. So with that said, thanks for joining us. Thanks again, JP, for giving us the rundown, and we'll see you on the next update.